Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to reminisce about my 2023 makeup purchases. So I have a ton of product next to me, which are all the things that I brought in last year. I wanted to kind of round them all up and let you know what my thoughts are, if I've used them, if I regret buying them, all of that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of things to get through. I'm going to go through the products from January down to December, and I will show you most of the things. There's a couple of things that I won't really show you, like I didn't take out all my single shadows that I bought last year, but I will refer you to a swatch party if you want to see everything that I'm talking about. But other than that, I pulled out most of the things that I bought. I will explain it when I get through the video. But I know this one is going to be quite a long one because I have so many things to talk about, so I'm going to jump straight into it. But before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So we're going to start off with things that I bought in January 2023. And I made one order, and with that order I got 3 things. So I picked up 2 things, and then the third thing was a gift for purchase. The first thing that I bought was the Face and Body Foundation in the shade C1, which I have right here. This one, it's been laying down so I can't really see how far down it is. But I had this one in C3, but I needed a lighter shade for winter. And this is one of my favorite foundations in my collection. It still is to this day. I haven't used it as much this year because I've been panning other things. But overall, this is one of my favorite foundations because it's buildable, it's very, very natural on the skin. It's glowy, but like very skin-like. So it's not like overly glowy, but it's still, it's just very skin-like. And also it lasts for a really, really long time. So I love this foundation, and I'm really, really happy that I picked it up. So definitely a win for the first one. The second product that I have, I don't actually have with me anymore because that was my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Lite Plus. And that was just like the pressed powder. It's like a cult favorite. I never tried it before, but I wanted to give it a go. And I have actually finished that product, so I no longer have it. It wasn't my favorite powder. It's a little bit heavy, and I feel like there's better things out there now. So yeah, I did like it, but I probably wouldn't purchase it again. And then the third thing that I got from that order was again a free gift with purchase, and that was the MAC Extended Play Mini Mascara, which I have finished and used up. And I really didn't like that one very much, so I definitely wouldn't buy it in the full size. In February last year, I only got one thing, and that was a gift with purchase. I picked up some nail polishes from Clionadh, and I ended up getting the free eyeshadow in Happy Accident, which I haven't pulled out, but I will insert a picture here if I have it. It was just an eyeshadow that they accidentally created when they mixed 2 different batches of pigment. So I got that one, and I like it. It's not my favorite eyeshadow, but I'm really, really happy to have it in my collection, especially considering I have like the complete stained gloss collection. It just kind of completes that collection a little bit extra, so I'm happy that I got that. And again, I didn't pay for it, so happy that I have it in my collection. In March, I brought in 3 products in different kind of trips or occasions, and I actually have all 3 of them still. So the first thing is something that I picked up from TK Maxx. I ended up picking up this Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. This is I actually have it written down now. This is the Pillow Talk Diamonds lipstick, which I think have been discontinued, that range. And this one is in the shade Lucky Diamonds, which is kind of a bronzy, shimmery kind of shade. And I'm currently panning this one in my Product Apocalypse. I like it. It's not like my favorite lip product, which is why I'm panning it, because I just feel like if I didn't pan it, I wouldn't really reach for it. It's a little bit too glittery for me, but I am loving it more and more in that project. It goes really well with some specific looks, and especially now in summer, it suits me very well. So, I don't regret buying it because I am enjoying panning it, but I am panning it for a reason. So it's a bit of a meh purchase, I guess, but I did get it discounted in TK Maxx, so not to worry about this one. And that is the first one thing from March. Then the second thing was actually just a free gift. I visited the Glossier store in London, and I think the like payment system was down, so everyone who had exited the shop got a free balm.com. So I ended up picking out, they only had like a couple shades, but I picked up the lavender balm.com, and as you can see, I have used a little bit of it. It was again a free gift to purchase. I didn't pay for it, but this is okay. I think I would like to try this one in different like scents or flavors or colors, I guess. I don't know, because this one is nice, but it doesn't give that much color. It's like a light purple shade. You can see maybe a little bit in there. It's a light purple shade, and it smells like lavender, which is nice, but on my lips I feel like it just tastes a little bit weird. So not my favorite, but I do like the formula, so I would love to try this one in like a different tone at some point. And then the third thing I picked up in March is probably one of my favorites. Actually, yes, tied with the foundation is my favorite product that I picked up so far in 2023 out of the things that I talked about. And that is from Rare Beauty. I actually picked up this one up in Paris. I visited Paris with my friend and colleague, and we both just took a day off because we needed to use up some holiday before the beginning of April. So we ended up taking the same day off, and we took a day trip to Paris, which was amazing. It was my first time in Paris and in France. And I visited Sephora there, and that was just before Sephora arrived in the UK, I believe. I think it came here in like June or like sometime that summer, I believe. But I hadn't been to Sephora in ages at that point, but I wanted to buy something there just for like the memories, but also just because I was in Sephora and I got to see loads of new brands. So what I ended up picking up was this Rare Beauty highlighter right here. This is in the shade Accelerate, which is a beautiful, beautiful highlighter. And I really love this one. It is really blinding, really stunning. I haven't used it as much as I would have liked just because I'm panning other things, but it still has a little bit of use, as you can see. And I adore this highlighter so much. I imagine this one becoming one of my favorites once I pan a couple other things. And this is one that I reach for a lot on special occasions, things like that. So I'm really, really happy that I ended up picking this one up. So those were all of the things from March. Let's move on to April next. And I have a lot of things from April. I'm just going to cover the normal things I purchased first, and I'm going to explain the rest afterwards. So the first thing that I picked up was the Hourglass, the Veiled Translucent Powder, which I have actually completely finished. It was my favorite under eye setting powder until I tried the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder at the beginning of this year. So that's what I'm using right now. But before I purchased the Hourglass Veiled Translucent Powder, which I have completely finished, so that's out of my collection. I really do like that one, but I do prefer the Huda Beauty one now, so I will continue repurchasing that one over the Hourglass one. And then another powder I picked up in the same order, is this one right here, which is the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder. And this one is in the shade Light, which is like, it looks white, but it's mostly translucent. I have this one in medium as well, which I'm trying to pan, but this is like my winter shade, and I do really love this one, hence why I have repurchased it. Yeah, I adore this powder. It's really, really nice. It's very smoothing, and I use this one as a touch-up powder, so I put this one in my handbag, and it's the one that I have on the go. I don't necessarily use it under my eyes. I just kind of use it to blot down oiliness, which I might actually need to do soon because I've been filming another video and my oils are coming through a little bit. So this is one that I love for that kind of thing, and let me actually do it with the other one. I'll show you the difference in my next clip, but I really love this one, and it's another favorite of mine, which I probably will repurchase over and over again unless I find something better as a touch-up powder on the go. And hopefully you can see there the difference that powder makes. It's just such a lovely touch-up powder. I'm using the one that I'm panning at the moment, not the one I just talked about. Then the last thing I picked up from that same order was a lip gloss. This one comes from Tower 28, and this is the lip gloss. This is the Shine On Lip Jelly in the shade Almond, which I have used a little bit of. It's a really, really beautiful kind of brown toned gloss, and I do like this formula quite a bit. Since I'm panning so many things though, I haven't gotten as much use out of this one as I would like, so I need to make a mental note to reach for this one more, and I would 100% pick this one up in more colors because I do really like the formula. And just quickly to mention, I did actually get mascara as well. I got two of these actually. This is the They're Real Magnet Mascara from Benefit, which is minis. I have used up one, I have one left, not my favorite, but I kind of use these under like false eyelashes like today. So they have a use in my collection, but I wouldn't repurchase the full size. And then in that same order, I got two more minis, which I have right here. This one is the NARS Mini Blush in this shade Orgasm, which is a cold favorite. I had the full size before, but I have actually decluttered it now just because I have the mini. And it's not my favorite blush, so I thought the mini would be sufficient to have in my collection. I haven't actually used this one, but I know this is a decent color. Again, not a favorite. Maybe I'll pan this one in the future at some point, but I'm happy to have it now in a mini size rather than the big full size. And then the last mini I got in that order is actually one that I use all the time. This is one that I always have in my handbag as a lipstick to have on the go if I don't bring anything to touch up, and if I'm just like going out, or if I have a small handbag, something like that. It's one of my favorites now. And that is this one right here, which is one from Charlotte Tilbury. And this is the shade Pillow Talk, which is a really, really nice shade on me. And this is all I have left of it. I've actually used most of it up. And again, it's just a beautiful, beautiful formula and color, and I love this one. I have it in the full size too, but this again is just perfect to have on the go. So here we have come to that part of the video where I kind of have to do a little bit of explanation. So I do have a couple of things to talk about that I did purchase, but all of these things, which I'm going to mention, so the rest of the products for April, were things that I purchased from my friend. So she was doing a massive decluttering, like declutter from her collection, and some of the things, like some things she gave me completely for free. I haven't actually pulled those out because I actually don't have them listed, so I can't remember exactly which one it is. So I haven't pulled them out, but it's like some of the eyeshadow palettes, and like I think she gave me a couple lip products and cheek products like blushes, things like that. Also like powder, yeah, just range of products, which she gave me completely for free. But these are the products that she like asked me to pay for, but I paid like very, very little for them. Like for example, I have Natasha Nona, Pat McGrath palettes, which I think she asked me to pay like, I don't know, 25, 30, maybe 35 pounds for, which is way, way less what they are full price. So I will talk you through everything that I got from her or bought from her, but just note that these were all things that I got very much discounted and I got like passed down from her. And a lot of these were also like a little bit used, but pretty much brand new. There was a couple of shades, like a couple of things that have more used than others, but yeah, I'm just going to talk you through them all when I talk you through them. So let's start with eyeshadow palettes because I have quite a few. First up, she showed me the Color Bible palette, which I do like. It's probably my least favorite Anastasia palette, but I do still like it. These are some really, really stunning undertones, and I actually had my eye on this one anyway, so I was really, really happy when she wanted to get rid of it. And I have hit pan on one of the shades for now. Yeah, I like this palette. It's again not my favorite, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. So that is the first one. She did also sell me 3 Pat McGrath palettes, which again I'm so grateful for because these were all, well, all apart from one was on my to buy list for Pat McGrath at some point anyway. And let's start with the one that I wasn't really originally planning to buy, but that was the Divine Rose 2 palette, which is my least favorite Pat McGrath palette, but I do really like it still, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'm not getting rid of this one or anything, but it is definitely my least favorite. Yeah, I haven't used it this year so far. It's not been in my Big Fat Eyeshadow project, so who knows, maybe when I play around with it in that project I'm gonna fall in love with it more. But yeah, that is the first Pat McGrath palette she sold me. The second Pat McGrath palette I got from her is this one right here, which is the Subliminal palette, so Mothership #1. This is such a beautiful cool tone color story. It's a little bit more kind of gray tone than what I normally buy, which is also why I hadn't picked it up quite yet on my own. But it was still on my list, and these special shades are so pretty. This is definitely more kind of a wintry palette, so I did reach for it a couple times last winter, but I'm excited to reach for this one again come like December time. But yeah, this is definitely a palette I'm really, really happy to have in my collection, so that is the next one. And then the third Pat McGrath palette I got from her, which is surprisingly my favorite out of the 3, because this is not a color story that I was umming and ahhing about, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick it up because the special shades aren't her normal formula, but I do actually surprisingly like it quite a lot, and that is the Moonlit Selection palette. So this is the palette right here. I really love this color story. It's just such a beautiful one. It is not my favorite Pat McGrath palette in my whole collection, but out of these 3 it is. I think the special shades are just very creamy and still very sparkly. They're not like that kind of dry formula as our other special shades. They're more creamy, but they still pack a punch. And I just feel like the selection of mattes is just really, really stunning and creates some beautiful looks. So I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection, and I definitely have fallen in love with this palette. And then the last 2 palettes that I purchased from her were Natasha Nona palettes, and they're right here. We're going to start with the one that I was so happy about because it's definitely one that I've been pining after for a long time, and that is the Biga palette. It is one of my favorite palettes. I really love this one just because it has everything you need for in mattes. It has 3 shimmers, but I'm not really that fussed about the shimmers. But I love reaching for this one in combination with like indie shadows, things like that. And I'm so happy to have this one. It has amazing quality. It is such a good palette. And yeah, I love this palette so much. It's such a beautiful one. And again, I was planning to pick this up very soon anyway, so I was happy that I got it from her at such a discounted price because I'm so happy to have this in my collection. It's definitely one of my favorites now, so that is a win for sure. And then similar to some of the Pat McGrath palettes, the next palette was one that I wasn't originally going to pick up myself because I felt like the color story wasn't what I wanted, but I have actually fallen in love with this one quite a bit, and that is the Sendo palette. So this color story, originally I wasn't like drawn to that much, but I have fall in love with this one. I love these kind of coral shades. I love the kind of undertone of these greens. They're a little bit more cool tone green than I normally go for, but it's something about them that I absolutely adore. And the combination of the two, you can make some really unique looks. And I think this is just such a typical like Natasha Denona palette that it is just very well thought out. The color story is perfection. So very, very happy with this one. I definitely love it way more than I originally thought I would. And I'm so happy that I got this one from her because I probably wouldn't have picked this palette up on my own. So the rest of the things I got from her were other makeup items. We're going to cover them quickly as well. We have the Hourglass face palette. This is the Lightning Edit palette in Sculpture. I actually haven't reached for this one much at all, just because I'm panning a different Hourglass face palette this year, so I haven't used it as much as I would like to. But I'm very, very excited because I do love the Hourglass formula, and I'm loving panning the Ghost Edit palette, which is the one I'm currently using. So I'm sure that I will get loads of use out of this one when I eventually get to it. So I'm very happy to have this one in my collection and have a backup of like a ambient lightning palette from Hourglass. We also have a blush. This one is the Pat McGrath Divine Rose blush. This is the Divine Blush in Divine Rose. Divine Rose is like her, you know, kind of most famous shade, just like Pillow Talk is famous for Charlotte Tilbury. Divine Rose is famous for from Pat McGrath. And this is a beautiful mauve tone blush. It's absolutely a formula that I was dying to try, and it's a really, really good one. I would pick up more shades from her range if I, you know, ever need more blushes, which I don't do right now, but really, really happy to have this in my collection. I use this one in my Project 10 uses. I've used it every now and then on my own, and it's such a beautiful mauve tone blush, and it's also quite unique in my collection because I don't have many blushes this tone, so very, very happy to have this one in my collection. Another favorite product of mine, which I have fallen in love with, is the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer in Sunkissed. This is one that I've recently used in my Project 10 uses. I think it's still in my Project 10 uses when you've seen this video, potentially, if I haven't rolled it out yet, but I have reached for it 10 times, so a little bit spoiler there. But I absolutely love this bronzer. It is the perfect bronzer for summer because it's so red toned, so it gives this like almost a bit of a sunburnt effect, but like in a nice way. And yeah, I absolutely love this one. I'm so happy to have discovered this bronzer, and I'm gonna be sad when this goes. Is this one still available? I haven't seen it around, but I'm hoping that it is, because if I ever pan this one, I would 100% buy it again because I have fallen in love with this product so much. I also have two highlighters, and these are both from Clionadh. I have a lot of these Space Age highlighters since before, but I have number 3, which is Ray Rider, and this is more kind of the champagne shade of the bunch. It's not my favorite. It's quite standard. It's not like a special shade or anything, so you know, I'm happy to have it in my collection, but I probably wouldn't buy it on my own. I probably wouldn't repurchase either because I have other kind of champagne highlighters that I prefer. And then the second one is the Mars Melter highlighter, which is number 4, and this one is the original Mars Melter. They have reformulated this one, and I have a bit of a dip in this shade because I have used it in my Project 10 uses and a bit on my own. It's a really, really beautiful pink toned highlighter. It's nothing too special. I feel like it's quite a standard pink highlighter, but I'm happy to have it because I do love pink highlighters. It's one of my favorite highlighting shifts to use because it's kind of blends in really nicely with your blush. So happy to have this one in my collection, and that is the second highlighter from Clionadh that I got from her. We have a couple more products. The next two are 2 base products. This is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder in Comfy. This one is unfortunately a little bit deep for me. I'm trying to open it. This packaging is so stubborn, but it's a little bit deep for me, but I do really like this formula. Actually, in summer now, it would work perfectly for me, I think, but I'm panning a different powder. But this is a really, really beautiful formula. It was very nice. I think she decluttered this one because she has more oily skin and it wasn't like the perfect formula for her, but I have more kind of combo skin, so I do really like this one, and it's definitely one that I will eventually get through, and I do think I want to pick up a lighter shade at some point too, just because I really do like how this one looks on my skin. And then another product that has quickly become one of my absolute favorite products is this one right here. So this one is the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the shade 3, Free Fair. I love this product. This is definitely, I wouldn't call this fair. It's kind of my summer shade, so it works perfectly for me now, but I have fallen in love with this product. I use it in place of foundation because I've been going for much lighter looks. Like today I'm not even wearing foundation. I'm wearing concealer around my nose and under my eyes, and then the blush and like that kind of stuff. And I have fallen in love with this one. I'm 100% going to pick this up in a lighter shade for winter. So whenever I kind of get out of my tan or like fake tan season, I'm 100% going to pick this up in a lighter shade. I need to figure out which shade I would pick up though. I might have to go into store to get like a good shade match because I don't want to order the wrong shade. Because I feel like this is going to be my go-to kind of foundation product moving forward, because I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy to have tried it out, because I didn't think this would be for me, because I thought it would be way too like glowy, because I don't always like going for glowy things or like glowy primers, but this one just has the perfect amount of glow to it, similar to the Face and Body foundation, which I talked about in the beginning of this video. I just feel like this is like the perfect skin-like texture, so definitely love this one. Then the last couple of things that I got from her before we move on to other things is 3 lip glosses. So these are all from Pat McGrath, and they're very different colors. We have like a very nude shade, like a peachy nude, an orangey kind of shade, and then a mauve tone. So we have the shade Peach Perversion, we have the shade Twilo, which is that kind of bright shade, and then we have the shade Secret Lover. And I really love this formula. I have it already in minis, like I have mini lip glosses from Pat McGrath, and I really love this formula, so I'm very, very happy to have these 3 full sizes. I haven't reached for them as much as I would have liked to, because again, I'm panning lip products, so I'm focusing on those mainly, but again, I'm very, very happy to have these in my collection. And this color here, the light one, isn't my favorite. However, I do like the other 2 quite a bit. So those are the last things that I picked up from my friend. And that is also everything that I picked up in April. So we're finally done with that month, and let's move on to May. In May, I picked up 3 things, but they're all the same thing. Those were the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara, which I actually, let me pull it out, which I actually have one of now, but this is not the one I purchased. I actually already finished those 3 mascaras, but I have repurchased like a backup now because I do really like this one. And yeah, it's one of my kind of mascaras on rotation. I usually have this one, the Sky High Mascara from Maybelline, or the Lash Sensational from Maybelline. So definitely love this one. Finished all of those 3, but it is a repurchase. So moving on to June, I didn't actually buy anything in the month of June. I decided to take a little bit of a break because I purchased so many things, or I got so many things from my friend. So I took a break in June, and in July I did pick up, well, I made one order, and that was from Clionadh. So I picked up the Dimensional Multichrome line as well as the Jewel Light Multichrome lines, which are both lines that I absolutely love. I feel like the shifts in these eyeshadows are so unique. They're very, very, different to Clionagh's lines, and I'm so happy about like both of those lines. They've been so much fun to play around with. I will have a swatch video with everything that I picked up this time around down below, because I did make a swatch video with this. And on top of those 2 lines, I did also pick up 5 just random singles, mostly from the Dragon Fruit palette. But in general, it's a couple more singles. So that is what I picked up in July. Nothing else on top of that. I'm very, very happy with all of those shadows. In both August and September, I kept up the no buy. I didn't buy anything else, which I'm really glad about, because I was digging myself out of the negative at this point, because I did pick up so many things in April. So nothing for those 2 months. However, in the month of October, I did pick up a few things. Let's talk about them next. So I did pick up like a makeup, like kind of edit beauty box from Cult Beauty, which had a couple things in it. First up was this blush right here. This one comes from Glowish, and this is the blush powder in the shade Healthy Peach, which is a beautiful kind of light peach blush. You can see right here. I've used it a couple of times and I do really like it. It's not like an absolute favorite or anything, but I do really enjoy having it in my collection. So I'm glad that this one is in the box. I'm hoping to get some more use out of this one at some point, but again, I'm panning a lot of blushes this year, so not really using it as much as I would have liked. But it's a nice formula and nothing like super special, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. I also have this lipstick right here, which comes from Vive. It's the first product I've tried from Vive, same with the Glowish, by the way. This is the Modern Matte lipstick in the shade 90s. It's spelled like tease, like she's a tease rather than like 90s. I don't know. But anyway, this is like a brownie kind of lipstick you can see it right here. It's an okay lipstick. The formula is super nice, but the color just isn't my favorite. However, it is unique to my collection, so I'm happy to have it, and I'm interested to try more things from Vive, especially from this range, because I do really like the formula of this lipstick. It's just like a little bit too, I don't know, it's just a little bit off for me, my coloring. I need to play around with it more though. I've only reached for it a couple of times, so maybe I will like it more if I just play around with it with different type of makeup looks. The main reason I picked up that beauty box was for this thing right here, which is a Natasha Nona eyeshadow palette. This is the mini nude palette. I wanted to pick this one up anyway, and it was in that box, and I think the box only cost slightly more than what this palette cost on its own. So I decided to pick the box up and get a few other things too. And I really love this palette. It's an easy everyday kind of palette. You can see I got a little bit of use out of it. Yeah, it's not like anything groundbreaking or anything, but I'm really, really happy. It's one of my favorite mini palettes from Natasha Denona, so it's a good kind of palette if you want like a simple everyday palette to have like when traveling or in your like makeup bag at work or something like that. This is a perfect one, and I'm really, really happy that I have it in my collection, even though I could have 100% duped this out with what I had already. But yeah, happy with this purchase right here. Then there was 3 last things in that beauty box, which I honestly haven't even used yet, and that is this 3 products right here. So first up, we have the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in the shade Forbidden Rose, which is like one of her just cream eyeshadow pencils. I do like this formula. I've tried one of these in the past, and it is a beautiful type of formula. I just don't reach for cream eyeshadow sticks very often, and this one I haven't used yet, but it's a beautiful color. You can see it right there. So I can't really comment on it. I guess it is a little bit of a fail because I haven't used it in about a year when I picked this up again in October. So not quite a year, but yeah, I should have probably reached for it. I might declare this one to my mom if I don't reach for it before the end of the year, but we'll see how it goes. So that is the next thing that was in the box. I also have this FanFest mascara from Benefit. Again, this is just like a mini size. I reached for this one like I do with some of the other things I talked about before, like underneath false eyelashes, things like that. So I haven't gone around to trying this one yet. Don't really know what it's like, but I'm sure that I will get some good use out of it once I open it up. Then lastly, we have this Say powder. This is the Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder in Translucent. I think I've tried this one once when I first got it. It's very, very radiant, which I wasn't expecting because I was setting my under eyes with this one and it was just very glowy. I'm sure that it's a use for this one in my collection, in my like makeup routine. I'm sure that I can use it like on set my actual face, but underneath my eyes, it didn't really work when I used it like the one time. But again, I need to play around with it more before I have an opinion. I'm sure that I can pan it at some point, but yeah, I probably wouldn't repurchase this one again unless I fall in love with it when I finish it up. So those were all the things in that beauty box, but I did also pick up a couple more things in that same order, and they were actually a set, and that was the Hydro Grip set. This is the grip primer in the 45ml size, quite a big one, but I really, really love this one. I'm already like halfway through. I'm right there. I love this primer. It's probably my favorite primer that I have, so definitely would purchase this one again. I'm so happy with this one. And when I picked this one up, it came in a set. So this one basically came for free. I think it cost like £2 more than buying this one on its own. So I picked up the set, and I have used up majority of this setting spray. It's okay. It's not like my favorite. I prefer out there long-lasting setting sprays. But the Hydro Grip primer, I would 100% pick up again, over and over again. The setting spray though, probably not. So that is my review of these 2 things. So those were all of the things that I picked up in October. We have a couple last things to talk about, which are all things that I picked up in November. So these are things that I picked up like beginning of November as well as Black Friday. And that's actually the last things to talk about because in December I didn't pick anything up. I did get a few things in my advent calendar, but I haven't pulled those out because I didn't purchase them specifically. I didn't know what like was in the box before I bought it, so you know, I'm sure maybe I should have brought them out, but honestly I haven't used them that much, the things that were in there, so I decided not to. So let's wrap up with the last things that I purchased in November of last year, and I will let you know what I think of all of them. So the first thing I don't have to show you because again it is some eyeshadows. This is the Clionadh 12 Days of Christmas bundle as well as the stocking stuffer duo. I picked up all of those in the beginning of November. I will have again a swatch party with that down below, as well as the other things that I picked up at the same time, which was some like Black Friday things. I believe I have them all in the same video, but I'll talk about what else I bought that Black Friday in a second. But before Black Friday, I did also pick up a couple things that I can show you, and that is these 4 palettes right here, which are the Odin's Eye Christmas bundle. So previously they had the Christmas Eve and the Merry Christmas palette that came out in 2022, and I didn't pick up at the time, but I was like kind of, you know, lusting for them even though they were discontinued. I was like, it's fine. But when they brought them back, I decided to pick them up. And on top of that, they also released the Snow Dream palette, which looks like this, as well as the Hey Reindeer palette, which looks like that. And I didn't like those color stories as much as I did the original 2, but I decided to pick up the bundle with all 4, and I'm so happy I did. I have tried all of them apart from the Snow Dreams palette, but I do really like the color story in here, so I'm sure that I will love that palette. But these 3 I have used. The Christmas Eve palette, which is this one here, is one of my favorite palettes in my collection now. I rank this one very, very high. It's tied for my favorite palette in my collection in my Big Fire eyeshadow project. So I'm very, very happy about that one. And then the Merry Christmas palette I had in my product level up palette. So I got a lot of use out of this one and I fell in love with this palette too. It also ranks very, very high. So I'm really, really happy with this bundle. Did I need 4 more eyeshadow palettes? Probably not, but I'm still very happy that I picked these up. Then the last thing to talk about before I get into my Black Friday purchases is this palette right here, which technically is a gift. I asked for this one specifically though, so I wanted to mention it still. This is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette in Light. I got this one from my boyfriend for my birthday, which is in middle of November, 19th of November, so like middle towards the end of November. But this is a beautiful palette. I haven't used it as much as I would have liked to because I'm doing my Big Fat Eyeshadow project as well as a lot of other projects. I kind of just have to prioritize that. But this is a beautiful palette. I feel like this is a great palette to travel with. It has everything you need for a everyday look as well as some beautiful cheek products. And with this one, there's 2 shimmer shades which have an amazing formula. It's one of the best shimmer formulas that I've tried from Natasha Denona. So I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection. I'm sure that I will get use of it in the future, but I just haven't gotten enough love out of it as I would have liked. But yeah, definitely a win here. So the last couple of things that I have to talk about is all things that I bought from Black Friday. And from Black Friday, I picked up only eyeshadows, mainly singles. So again, I don't have all the singles pulled out, but I love all of them. I love kind of the special shades that I picked up, which yeah, majority of them are. So what I picked up was I picked up some shades from Divina. I ended up picking up 32 shades from them. I picked up a couple shadows from Terra Moons, 21 shadows to be exact. I picked up 28 shadows from Shine by SD. First time trying, by the way, both Shine by SD and Divina, and I really, really love both those brands. They have quickly become some of my favorite indie shadows, so you're definitely happy with that. And then lastly, I did pick up 3 singles from Clionadh. I'm trying to think what I picked up, those 3 singles. I think it was a couple more of the Dragon Fruit palette, and I think that was it. Oh, I think that was it. I can't remember, but I'll have all of that in Swatch video link down below. Then the very final thing that I have to talk about is actually palettes I've pulled it out, but that is also from Clionadh. This is the Deep Sea Treasures palette, which is a beautiful palette full of multichromes. It looks like this. I have used this one very recently in my deck of panning as a no pan left behind, and I love these shadows. There's a handful that, like, not even a handful, there's like one shade that I am not that fussed about, which is the shade Scuba. It's just not like as shifty as what I would like, and it's also not the type of tone that I go for very often. But other than that, I really love all of the shades in here. The shade The Bends really surprised me because it's like a green to purple. And yeah, maybe I can do this and I can show you some of the shifts. I don't know if you can see some of the shifts in there. I'm hoping so you can see some of the shifts in the mirror there. But yeah, anyway, beautiful, beautiful shadows. The Bends really surprised me because I feel like that was beautiful on the eyes. Same as this shade here, Shipwreck, because that one looks black, but then if I turn the palette or look in the mirror, you can see right there, it looks like red to almost like gold. And it has a bit of like purple tones to it too. It's very, very shifty and it's beautiful to put on the outer corner. So I'm really, really happy with this palette. Very lucky to have this in my collection because it's just such a beautiful palette and it's just very well made. Clionadh shadows have super high quality, and even though this is like not a full standalone palette because I have to use it with other things, I still am really, really happy that I picked this one up. And that, you guys, is the final thing that I have to talk about in this video. Let me know which one, if you tried any of the things that I picked up, which one is your favorite? Do you have any favorites from the list of products that I mentioned? Also, judging from what I have talked about in this video, do you have any recommendations for me to what to pick up? Ideally not eyeshadows because I am on an eyeshadow bank and I'm trying to purchase many more eyeshadows. But if any other product recommendations for me in general to pick up this year maybe or next year, let me know down below. Other than that, I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys!